I mean, the state of California is going to be issuing identification cards the way they issue driver's licenses.
In 1996, the first case that legalized medical marijuana was in California, and since then, many federal courts have become polarized by the topic. In Arkansas, medical marijuana is legalized. To see how it affects the state, we interviewed Senator Kim Hammer and an employee of Spa City Cannabis Co.
On the medical marijuana, I think it has some benefits. Also think it has shown that there's some downsides because of people abusing the ability to get a prescription for purposes other than for what it was intended to do. I think one of the other areas also are physicians that are not seeing their patients but are writing the prescription, so I do think that there are some challenges that need to be addressed. It is the law of the land. There are some that have benefited from it, and I'll acknowledge that, but because of the possibility of it being used for improper uses, I think we always have to keep a watchful eye on it. You know, if someone is stopped and they are seized, you know, and they don't have the medical prescription for it, then obviously there is going to be the seizure of the marijuana. I think that there needs to be a stronger show of force at the federal level as far as actually, you know, seizing it and also going after those that are manufacturing it and selling it illegally. I think you could measure effectiveness by enforcement. Obviously, they're not very effective because there's not a lot of enforcement going on. Difference of opinion. Personally, I did not support it in its initial presentation because it is a violation of federal law. I think that those at the federal delegation will need to step up and take a position on it so states can align accordingly. It's just been a hot topic that they've not taken up the issue at the federal level where it really needs to be dealt with.
When it comes to regulation, as Senator Hammer mentioned, the CDC claims that 1 out of every 10 marijuana users become addicts, and that THC in general hinders brain development. If that's the case, why are 67% of doctors and 85% of the U.S. population for medical use?
At a state level, we're trying to ban it, and we're going to be behind everyone else. You know, if everyone else is pushing for the legalization and we're the last to come, we're missing out on all this tax money that everybody else is receiving that could easily be benefiting us. You know, our roads aren't that nice. We have a lot of major problems that could be fixed with a little bit of extra tax money that cannabis could provide. And it's more than just that. It's the actual, pushing for the movement of self-healing and getting out of the big pharma ways. You know, I just don't want Arkansas to be behind. The only thing that's not legal as far as cannabis, the only thing that they regulate is Delta-9 THC, a specific cannabinoid found in cannabis. There's 114 known cannabinoids found in cannabis, and there's more discovered yearly, more that are touched on, and they even break down into cannabinoids. You got your CBD-As, your THC-As that are underneath the THC. So, you know, they've really only limited their restrictions and regulations on one cannabinoid. Because with the medical marijuana side of it, yes, it's legal, but they're charging people, what, $200–300 for the medical marijuana card alone. They're charging an extra 33% tax. And yes, these things are pros to the state, you know, things we want. We want extra tax money to have fixes for our roads and things like that to help people out. But, you know, we also want people to be able to get their medications and be able to get better without having to spend all the money that they have. We could have a whole nother interview, an hour long, of just testimonies of people coming in, that literal miracle stories, you know, things that just kind of make you stop and, you know, like, this is why I do what I do. Before any product is purchased, before anyone even has an idea of what they want to buy, we're educating them on the product first and educating them on, you know, the mental health factors that go along with it. For somebody that has anxiety, or they have any type of paranoia and things like that as it is, or even if they know they're prone to it, something high in THC that's a sativa is not going to be good for you. It's going to give you a head high, it's going to give you a little bit more of an energy, and it makes you feel a little more out of control. However, where you're smoking something like an indica that's more of a heavy high, it's going to relax you more, and it actually is known to treat ADD, ADHD, and it does the opposite. It, you know, it helps with the anxiety and things like that. And we also, our main thing that we promote for people with the anxiety and things like that is just CBD. We're not even pushing for the THC side. It's the medicinal route. CBD is known for alleviating, you know, anxiety. Hemp is federally compliant. It's federally legal. So anything that doesn't have THC in it is allowed to be sold. You know, it's kind of strange if you really break it down and look at it, because why can we touch on all these other cannabinoids, not this specific one? But that's really where the line draws us right there on that Delta 9.
Perhaps this added some nuance to the concept of medical marijuana. On one hand, it can assist others, but without regulation, it could domino effect into something more worrisome. Because this is such a gray situation, it may take some time to see how effective legalization of medical marijuana can be.